Okay, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for watching. Today we're going to talk about some trades I'm looking at next week. And then we're going to go back to the basics. We're going to talk about why I think SoFi is one of the best stocks to sell options on for people that don't really have a lot of capital and maybe just want to dabble a little bit when it comes to selling options. And before we get started, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. That way you can follow along. I've been documenting me trying to sell some options for some extra income and just see if I can make that work. And if you want to follow the journey, see how I do, hit that subscribe button. If you want some supplemental information and want to learn everything I know when it comes to selling options, all of the basics, go check out my course. It's linked down below. It helps out the channel. Really do appreciate it. Thank you to those that have bought it already. It truly means the world to me that you spend money on some information that I provide. And for those of you that are new, I want to preface this. If you're thinking about selling options, don't listen to YouTubers on what to do. I want you to do your own research. I want you to be primarily invested in diversified assets because that's what I do. I primarily invest in index funds, but I wanted to try selling options just to see if I can make some extra income that way because it's always intrigued me. And so far, I really, really enjoy it. I find it fun and I'm very passionate about it, actually. It's something I think about daily, which maybe not too healthy, but I want to talk about SoFi stock as it comes to selling options because if you follow the channel, you know that I have acquired a lot of SoFi stock and primarily it has come from selling options. As you can see right now, I have 4,800 shares of SoFi and I've been doing a mix of selling puts and selling calls on SoFi. If we look at my spreadsheet that I use to track all of the trades and just keep myself accountable, we can see I sold a put on SoFi on the 1st of May, and I made 21 bucks from just selling that one put at a strike price of 12 bucks and expires next Friday. And I also sold another put that is farther out in expiration. I'm assuming this one was a roll. I don't quite remember, even though that wasn't that long ago. But just based off of the premium I gained, it's probably a roll. And then I sold a call option on SoFi that's expiring next Friday at $13.50 and made another 17 bucks there. So you can see here, me selling one individual option and in 1 week's time netted me $21 in premium. And why I say I think this is good for small accounts, and this is all just my personal opinion, is because I only had to fork over $1,200 as collateral to make this $21. And as long as SoFi doesn't fall below $12 between now and Friday, I am safe, and this will just expire worthless, and I keep my $21 and move on to the next week. And I've been selling a lot of covered calls lately because I have so many shares and I figure now's the time to start generating income, not only from selling puts on SoFi and potentially acquiring more shares, but also selling calls. And something I like to do is I like to ask ChatGPT if it can take the amount of shares that I have and I say, hey, I'd like to sell covered calls on these shares at an average delta of 0.2, meaning 20% of the time it's going to expire worthless. Of course, this is optimum, so everything has to be perfect, but after 12 months, if this continues, I will end up with 7,300 shares if I just continue to invest the premium I get back into SoFi shares. You can also, if you do this on your own with ChatGPT, which is really fun, and I recommend you doing so, you can put in other scenarios like, hey, what if I have to roll out my options 1 week out of 4? And it can add that to the calculation, and maybe you want to sell monthlies alongside of selling weekly covered calls. Maybe half of them monthly, half of them weekly. It can do that too. So it's really flexible. Obviously, with AI, it's fantastic to go through these different scenarios and just kind of see what's possible. But right now, I have a lot of shares already tied up with covered calls, but a lot of them actually expired last Friday. So I had 4,800 shares tied up with covered calls I sold, and 20 of those contracts expired worthless. So now those shares have freed up and I'm ready to start looking at selling more covered calls if I want to. So not only is this good for small accounts, in my opinion, because you can sell puts, but once you acquire those shares, then you can start selling covered calls. And if I go to sell a call after I acquire those 100 shares from previously selling a put being assigned to me, I've sold 6 already of this $13.50 strike price that's expiring next Friday, 82% chance of it expiring worthless, and I get $12 a piece from each covered call. So if I wanted to, and I wanted to sell all of them at once and tie up my 2,000 shares in collateral, I'd be looking at making $239 in 1 week selling covered calls on SoFi. And then if it never goes past 1350 between now and Friday, because there's not any crazy news and things just stay stagnant, then I keep this money and I move on. And what I like to do is I like to take this money and reinvest it back into shares of SoFi. And that's how I've accumulated so many over the time of me doing this. So yeah, personally, I think it's a great stock. I really like the loan platform business and what they've been doing lately. Makes me super excited for the future of the company, and I really like selling options on it. Of course, with any investing, there's risk, so don't think this is like a risk-free thing that I'm doing, because even if I sell covered calls and it takes off, then I'm limiting my full potential return. So let me know what you guys think of SoFi. What do you think of the company? I know it's very mixed. And what do you think about selling options on it? I really do appreciate you watching. Like I said, if you want to go check out the course, it's down below. And I hope to see you in a future video.